Hey guys, welcome back to Ultimate S&S. Hope you've been having a great week so far. So we're starting to see the cracks in the facade about the food shortage. I know a lot of people think, well, there's not really a shortage happening here in this country, at least not in my state, my areas, but we're starting to see more and more reports coming in. And not only food shortage, let's also talk about this fuel shortage and how it's going to affect you going into 2023. So something you need to realize is there are diesel shortages in this country, and that's going to cause the prices to go up because you still have the same demand for that, but the availability has gone down as well. So coming into next year, when we start looking at not just transportation of the foods, but also putting those seeds in the ground, harvesting them out with those prices up and that availability down on the fuel, you're going to see some really big price increases here soon. I know a lot of people are saying, I'm not seeing a food shortage and things like that in my area, but understand, you're just not looking, you're not paying attention to what's happening. There is not only availability issues happening, there's also shortages of certain types of food, and that's increasing on that list. That list started off with about 5 or 6 items earlier in the year, and now we're seeing an increase of 15, 20, 30 items being added to that every month, man. So you need to be paying attention to what's happening. Get your food now. I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't prep and I don't hoard food and all these excuses why they don't do it. But understand those people, they're the ones that's going to be starving. They're going to be knocking on your doors asking you for food. Me personally, at this point, they've had enough warning. They've had people telling them. I know that you've been telling them, get prepared, get prepared, get prepared. They just let it out their ears, go on their expensive vacations because they know that they can pull at your heartstrings to get you to feed them. And that's what it comes down to. Now, are they going to help you with your bills and stuff in the process? Absolutely not. That's just the way it happens. So, again, man, make sure you're getting that food now. Going to post some headlines up here for you just to show what's going on with the food shortage around here. But you need to be understanding what's happening with over in Ukraine. So there's more than just wheat coming over. There's also a lot of sunflower oils and things like that coming out. So when you're starting to look at the different types of products that really starts to affect, your cooking oils. Now it's more than just sunflower oil. There's a lot of vegetable oils and stuff that come out of there. Recently, they were talking about wanting to have any country they could get to escort their barges and things out of the port so they can get what little bit of supply hasn't gotten blown up by Russia. They want to get that stuff out to the American people and to the rest of the country as well. You will see some reports say, well, I don't think it's going to affect America that much because, we got plenty of farmland to grow. But what they don't seem to be reporting is the fact that we have this Bill Gates buying up all kinds of land all over the country, and it's farmland that's been handed down through families for generations and generations and generations. And what's happening is he's buying it up and he's just shutting it down. He's not producing food or anything like that. And you're starting to see these different types of products talked about in the news where, like, the FDA has now approved these lab grown meats and stuff like that. And something else for you, Kenya, they have such a bad food supply over there right now. They're looking to that genetically modified type maize and things like that, just to be able to feed their people. They don't really know what's in it. It's grown in a lab. It's not genetically modified as in crossbreeding different types of products or different types of vegetables, corn and stuff like that. But what it is actually it's lab grown. So they're like, we don't really know what to do with this stuff. And our people are starving, so what do we need to do? And they just go, okay, you know what? Finally, we're going to buy it. And that's what's going to happen in this country is people are going to continue to go to store, and these prices are going to keep going up. And that's the plan, man. I really believe this is a plan to get you to buy that junk that's just, you don't really know where it's coming from. You don't know what the long-term effect is going to be of eating it. Now think about this. When you have these food snobs and they go into the store and they go, well, it's not organic. I'm not eating that. Well, eventually those types of foods are going to be outpriced where you're not going to be able to afford them. So what are they going to eat? Well, they'll probably end up looking for the organic variety of the lab-grown meat. Or they'll probably end up being the biggest advocate saying, oh no, it is so pure that it's the way that they culture it and then grow it in the lab that it's even better than normal meat. Me personally, I would rather raise my chickens and try to raise some different types of animals and stuff here, rabbits or whatever. That way I have actual real meat. I don't want to eat garbage. That's just the way that I am. But it's going to be up to you in the days ahead how to prepare and stuff. We make a lot of prep videos. We make a lot of different type of content on this channel. And one of the things I have noticed is because we started doing a lot of the other style videos as well, kind of informing you of where this is leading to, our viewership has dropped, like boom. That tells you that people do not want to hear the truth. That's my opinion on it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want it. No, I don't want to hear that. And we knew that those days were coming. We are in those days. But for those who are still viewing, I appreciate your viewership, guys. It's amazing to have people commenting in, being able to share ideas and stuff. So definitely keep that coming in as well. But man, it gets kind of disheartening from not a standpoint of people don't watch not as many people watching. Not too worried about that. It's the reason that people are rejecting. When you come up and you say, this is where we're headed, this is why all these things are happening in the world, and people reject that. They're like, nope. If they don't want to accept that, they also don't want to accept the fact that there are food shortages, and that those food shortages are going to continue to get worse, even though you have analysts. Okay, a lot of time we post the stuff up, these are from analysts. These are not from your MSM sources and things like that. It's going to spoon feed you what you want to hear as a baby. These are the people that are looking at it and say, there's a problem going on here, this is the issue. They don't want to hear it. They do not want to hear it. And that's fine. Those of us who prepare, we're going to be ready for it. We know that there's going to be a day coming soon where, the food supply is going to be, it's already severely hit, man. It really is. But it's going to be almost non-existent. And for those of you who are preparing for that, growing those indoor gardens and your outdoor gardens, getting your greenhouses ready. Maybe you're, raising quail or rabbits or chickens or whatever it is that you're doing, guys. It's one of those things where it's going to pay off. It is going to pay off. Make sure that you also plan in your preps for growing food to feed those animals as well, because eventually you're not going to be able to buy it at the feed stores. That's where we're headed to, where the price is going to get so high, you're not going to be able to afford it. And unfortunately, that's just kind of what happens in society today. But again, man, just be focused on what it is. Don't stop prepping. A lot of people are like, well, the price is getting too high, I can't really prep right now. You do not want to stop prepping at all. You want to keep stockpiling that food. You want to keep stockpiling water if you don't have water filters and things like that. Now, if you have a well, you're going to be in a better shape here than the people that are using city water and stuff like that here before too long. I don't know if you've been hearing about how these systems are getting hacked within the systems that has to do with your city water. And we're not talking about your sewage. We're talking about your actual drinking water. And they're hacking these systems. Now, for those who don't realize, those chemicals that they put into it to treat it, those are all controlled by programmable logistic computers, PLCs. And what happens is they hack into those systems and they will just completely just dump too much of one type of a product. And a lot of times it is the fluoride that they're putting in the water. If you've ever seen fluoride in the bags or in the jugs, the big 50-gallon drums, the tankers and things like that they sell that stuff in, it says not for human consumption. It will kill you. I worked for Alcoa years ago, and that was one of the byproducts that would come off of aluminum smelting. And let me tell you something, you do not want to be in that plant whenever there is a fluoride leak. It will kick up and it will take you out, and it will kill you just dead. Just boom, if it hits you. So you got to make sure that you always had your respirators and things like that on and stuff. So, but that's what we're seeing, and they always say, oh, it's some country, we're not really sure what's going on. But I'm starting to think it's not really the country, other countries. I think it's attacks from within, personally. We're seeing those attacks at the top level on your freedoms and stuff like that. It's just, the problem is they have this mentality where, one, they turn Americans against each other based off of politics. Man, they're all crooked. You need to get that in your head. They're all crooked. You need to be picking people that are not looking at the traditional party lines. Now, when I say traditional party lines, that includes this socialist, liberal platform stuff that's pushing in, guys. Now, you are free to believe whatever you want to believe. I'm fine with that. But what you don't want to do is then come up when you find out, hey, you know what, I'm wrong in this, and then expect people to just give whatever it is that they've been stockpiling back. And that's kind of what we're seeing happening with prepping communities and stuff. I'm a firm believer in trying to help people. I really am. But when it comes right down to it, man, you have people that have like lived down here in Florida for years, decades, multiple decades. They know that every year you're going to get those hurricanes, you're going to get those tropical storms, you're going to lose power. It's a given. It doesn't even take one of those big storms to knock the power out. And every time you turn around, the power goes out, and then they're all standing in the middle of the streets, standing in the middle of the dirt roads around this area. We live out way out in the country, but they're standing out in the dirt roads, and they're all scratching their heads. Hey, have y'all got power? Yeah, we got power, but the main power's off. We fired up the generator. Well, would you mind if I come over and cook food, or if you're cooking, could I just get some of that? No, you can't. You can go buy a generator. Understand that you're going to have to say no to survive at some point. And you may as well get into practice of it now. When you have entire homes completely decimated, like what happened in southern Florida, man, it is very sad to see that happen. But again, you know that you're building in an area that's getting those hurricanes. You know that you're building in areas with bad tornadoes. For those in the Midwest living in like Kansas and things like Oklahoma and areas like that, it's a possibility. Have backup plans. Have some sort of, a camper system you can move out of the area. Have your money up where you can move out of the area and stuff. People come out like, this is the only place I had to stay. I had to cross state lines and I come back and all my stuff's just gone. I don't understand what happened. Well, when you're coming into hurricane season, start moving that stuff to a different location, a storage bin in Alabama or further out if you have to. That's the thing that just really, I don't understand the mentality of people. They don't prepare, but then they want to pour mouth when bad things happen. And that's the way things always have been down here in this state. Now, I love Florida for some things, but I have a lot of stuff against it too, especially here lately. We've been getting this influx of people coming into this country that want to bring their ideology from parts of the country, these different states out west and even up north that have failed the economy. It has caused a rise in crime. It has broke the system, and they want to bring it down here, and it makes no sense. So voting is very important. So make sure you're voting the right way, guys. But not to sound like a rant tangent, but it comes down to a point where you just have to finally say, you know what? If you don't want to get food, starve. If you don't want to prepare, then that's fine. That's up to you. When it comes down to it, yeah, we have all these different types of things that come up. One of the things that came up the other night was a commercial on a show that I was watching, and it come up, talk about how men have no fashion sense. Well, let me tell you something, man. Be happy I'm wearing my clothes because I don't care about fashion. I wear clothes because you can't walk around naked. That's what it comes down to. I'm not worried about fashion. I'm gonna go pay $80 for a T-shirt when I can buy 8 shirts for that, and they last longer too. It's better material quality. That's just where you've got to really look at what you're doing, what you're spending your funds on. If you're not preparing, you're going to be squashed. I mean, that is one of the common truths of society. Those who do not prepare, those who sit around on the sidelines and they don't actively try to extend in some kind of a knowledge of how to become a little bit more self-sufficient, they starve out. It happens all the time. It happened in ancient Rome, happened in Greece, happened in Babylon, happened all throughout the history of this world, and we still see what's happening. I believe what it comes down to is hard times breeds hard people. When you start having really good time, a good life, good society around, and things like that, and there's the jobs available, and maybe a little bit better pay and stuff like that, you start getting these wimps and these weaklings, and then what they want to do is bring society down to their level. And typically, what happens is it will eventually collapse. And is that from design from the governments of the world to reduce population? A lot of people think that it is. When you start talking about redistribution of wealth and one world's orders and the Great Reset, stuff like that, when you see what's happening around, regardless of what you want to call it, you see that it's happening. You see what's happening with your own eyes, but you don't wake up. And that's what it comes down to. So it's time to wake up, folks. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I'm going to hop off here.